02 Egyptian royal families voice script in the scorching sands of ancient Egypt, where gods walked among mortals and pharaohs ruled as living deities, lay secrets so dark that they would shock the modern world. Behind the golden masks and magnificent pyramids existed a twisted web of family relationships that defied all natural order. This is not the story of Egypt you learned in school. This is the untold truth about the most powerful royal bloodlines in human history and the price they paid for keeping their divine blood pure. The year is 1323 BCE. In the Valley of the Kings, a young pharaoh lies dying at just 19 years old. His name? Tutankhamun. But the golden boy king harbors a secret that archaeologists would only discover 3,000 years later. When modern science finally examined his mummified remains, the results were horrifying. Cleft palate, clubfoot, severe malformations of the spine, and a skull so misshapen that he likely couldn't walk without assistance. The truth? King Tut was the product of a brother-sister union. His parents were siblings, children of the revolutionary Pharaoh Akhenaten, and Tutankhamun was not alone. For over 3,000 years, Egyptian pharaohs practiced something that would be considered abhorrent today: systematic incest. But why? The answer lies in their twisted understanding of divinity itself. Ancient Egyptians believed their pharaohs were living gods, direct descendants of Ra, the sun god. To maintain this divine bloodline, they developed a chilling solution. Pharaohs would marry their sisters, daughters, and even granddaughters. The most infamous example? Cleopatra, 7 Yes. The Cleopatra. Despite Hollywood's portrayal, she was likely the product of at least 6 generations of brother-sister marriages. Her great-great-great-grandmother married her own brother. Her great-great-grandmother did the same. The pattern continued relentlessly. But Cleopatra's family, the Ptolemies, were merely continuing a tradition that stretched back to the very dawn of Egyptian civilization. Our story begins 5,000 years ago with Narmer, the first pharaoh to unite Upper and Lower Egypt. Even he set the precedent by marrying his sister, Nephthotep. But it was the 4th dynasty that perfected this dark art. Pharaoh Sneferu married his half-sister. His son, the great pyramid builder Khufu, married multiple sisters. The practice became so normalized that royal children were literally raised to become each other's spouses. Consider the horrifying mathematics. In some royal bloodlines, the coefficient of inbreeding reached levels comparable to multiple generations of brother-sister mating. The genetic consequences were catastrophic. Modern genetic analysis has revealed the true cost of Egypt's royal obsession. The mummies tell a story of unimaginable suffering. Amenhotep III, severe dental problems and likely diabetes. Akhenaten, possible Marfan syndrome, causing his distinctive elongated features. Tutankhamun, multiple genetic disorders that left him barely able to function. But perhaps most shocking of all is what happened to the women. Royal sisters and daughters were treated as breeding stock, their sole purpose to produce male heirs with pure blood. Queen Ankhesenamun, Tutankhamun's wife, was his half-sister. When genetic analysis was performed on two mummified fetuses found in Tut's tomb, scientists discovered they were severely malformed, the tragic result of their parents' shared DNA. If you think the native Egyptian dynasties were extreme, wait until you meet the Ptolemies, the Greek family that ruled Egypt after Alexander's conquest. For nearly 300 years, this single family practiced incest so systematically that they created what scientists now call one of the most inbred royal lines in human history. Ptolemy II married his full sister, Arsinoe II. Their descendants continued this pattern with religious devotion. By the time Cleopatra VII was born, her family tree looked more like a twisted vine than a tree. The Ptolemies didn't just marry siblings, they married nieces, aunts, and in some cases, their own daughters. The genetic pool became so small that royal children were essentially genetic copies of their ancestors. But this wasn't just about religious belief. Incest was a calculated political weapon. By marrying within the family, pharaohs eliminated potential rivals. There were no ambitious brothers-in-law to challenge the throne, no foreign princes to claim Egyptian territory through marriage. Every royal marriage in ancient Egypt was a chess move. Incest wasn't a taboo, it was strategy. The system was so effective that it lasted for 3 millennia. But the human cost was unspeakable. By the Ptolemaic period, the royal bloodline was collapsing under its own genetic weight. Infant mortality rates in royal families reached catastrophic levels. Many princes and princesses died in childhood from genetic disorders. Those who survived often suffered from mental instability, physical deformities, and chronic illnesses. The famous Ptolemaic jaw, a severely protruding lower jaw, became a hallmark of the dynasty, passed down through generations of inbreeding. Even Cleopatra herself, despite her legendary beauty, likely suffered from this genetic legacy. Contemporary accounts describe her as having distinctive facial features that may have been the result of her inbred ancestry. When Cleopatra VII died in 30 BCE, she took with her the last remnants of a 3,000-year-old system of royal incest. Her children, with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, were killed by Augustus, ending the Ptolemaic line forever. But the damage was already done. The greatest civilization of the ancient world had destroyed itself from within, one generation at a time. For centuries, historians romanticized ancient Egypt, focusing on its achievements while ignoring its darkest secrets. Only modern DNA analysis has revealed the full horror of what happened in the royal palaces. Today, we know that the genetic damage was so severe that many royal bloodlines should have died out naturally. Only the constant influx of new wives from noble families, essentially introducing fresh genes, kept the system functioning. The ancient Egyptians believed their pharaohs were gods walking among mortals. To maintain this divine fiction, they were willing to sacrifice their humanity itself. The golden death masks hide faces twisted by genetic deformity. The magnificent tombs contain bodies racked with inherited disease. The greatest monuments to human achievement were built by a ruling class slowly destroying itself through its own perverse understanding of purity. This is the true legacy of ancient Egypt, not just the pyramids and temples, but a chilling reminder of what happens when power becomes more important than human dignity, when political expediency trumps natural law. The pharaohs achieved immortality, but not in the way they intended. They live on as a warning from history, proof that even gods can fall when they forget they are hung in the end. The greatest mystery of ancient Egypt isn't how they built the pyramids. It's how a civilization so advanced could practice something so barbaric for so long, and what price they ultimately paid for their dark obsession with keeping the blood of the gods pure.